The Fixed Liberty podcast is presented by the Fixed Liberty Project, where we explore the fundamental principles of liberty and morality upon which a free society stands and thrives. Learn more and sign up for our free weekly email newsletter at fixedliberty.com.
Hello and welcome to the Fixed Liberty Podcast. Today is August 13th, 2022. I am your host, Ross Brown. Thank you so much for joining us here again on the show today. What is capitalism? And what does it mean to be a capitalist? Well, too often in 21st century America, we use our words really loosely. And such a practice invariably clouds our thinking and muddies our debates. And our use of the words capitalism and capitalist falls victim. We simply use the words inappropriately. Consider, sometimes when we say capitalism, we really mean free enterprise, which, as defined by our good friends over at Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is, quote, the freedom of private business to organize and operate for profit in a competitive system without interference by government beyond regulation necessary to protect public interest and keep the national economy in balance, unquote. But what else? Sometimes when we say capitalism, we really mean economic liberty, which could be defined as the freedom to own private property, to enter into private contracts, to work as one chooses, and to freely transact with others in the marketplace. Sometimes when we use the word capitalism, we really mean corporatism, which Merriam-Webster defines as, quote, the organization of a society into industrial and professional corporations, serving as organs of political representation and exercising control over persons and activities within their jurisdiction, unquote. Sometimes when we say capitalism, we really mean materialism, being the love of material goods, or consumerism, the idolatry of consumption. But capitalism is none of these things. So what is it? And what does it mean to be a capitalist? Well, the root of each of these words is capital. So therefore, logically, if we are to properly understand the words capitalism and capitalist, we must first properly understand the word capital. Now, I know you're loving all these sixth grade speech attention getters with all these definitions, but bear with me just for one more. What is capital? Well, Merriam-Webster defines capital in its purest definition as, quote, a store or supply of useful assets or advantages, unquote. And that's a great definition, because when capital is defined in that way, we can clearly see that capital takes many forms. Let's consider a few examples. Money stored in your bank account or saved in your 401k is financial capital. Another example, let's look at an experienced and proficient worker. What is that? Well, that's human capital. Another example, let's consider the relationships which comprise an authentic church community. What is that? Well, that's described as social capital. How about a hospital building and its medical equipment? Well, that is physical capital. How about the Pythagorean theorem? Well, that's knowledge capital. How about a well-functioning software program? That could be described as technological capital. And how about a bunch of football players on a team? When those players are working in concert with one another, that could be described as organizational capital. So the potential list of capital is endless. Infrastructure, educated students, the internet, the population of a nation, history books, family units, vehicles, neighborhood watch programs, food at the grocery store, your toothbrush. Any useful asset or advantage you can think of is properly described as a form of capital. So it follows then that capitalism is an ideology which proposes that our earthly experience improves only through the creation, growth, or improvement of capital in its many forms. And to be a capitalist is to subscribe to such a notion. To be sure, I am a capitalist. And as a term properly understood, I bet you are too. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Fixed Liberty Podcast. I'll see you next time.